Well, at the moment, President Buhari has, I think the committee is headed by Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the VP, a committee to look into the excess crude account and see what they can share, because they say running that ECA in the first instance was illegal.
We're back to square one. It is a patriotic illegality.
Patriotic illegality?
Yes.
Does the law recognize that?
Well, the law doesn't recognize patriotic illegality, but we must give credit where it's due. The former President Obasanjo was a very nationalistic, strong, visionary man. He saw it coming. And he said, look, you have candy, but I'm not going to give you all the candy. I'll give you one, I'll keep one. Tomorrow when you call, you may need it. That's what he did. Now, you are hammering on the illegality of that action. You are not talking about the wisdom of that action. Now, the constitution needs to be changed. We need to be real. I mean, we should stop politics and talk about the management of Nigerian economy. It is for the good of everybody. Now, if that excess crude account that is illegal was spent 4 years ago or 5 years ago by the previous presidents, what will these governors be talking about?
But you know, in spite of all of this, again, this was what was said by the president, and they say that they're getting the cooperation of the international community for some of these stolen funds, and so they're going to trace a lot of this. Would you be disappointed if at the end of the day so much is recovered by persons who served in Jonathan's administration and funds that have been stashed out in foreign accounts?
No. I'll be very delighted. I'll be very delighted because those who serve under Jonathan included both governors and ministers. So it's not, and when you're a president of APC, you're a president of PDP, you're a president of everybody. So my understanding is that he will get the loot, whether it's APC, doesn't matter, whether it's PDP, doesn't matter. As long as there's something abroad, he will bring it. I think it's good for the country.
And then the NNPC. You know the impression people have about the NNPC. They say, look, it's so opaque, the sleaze that goes on there. And at the moment, yes, the board has been dissolved, but would you say that the president did what he could to ensure that the NNPC did their jobs? Because only recently we're beginning to hear that Port Harcourt refinery is going to start production. And many wondered, so what did they do that the Jonathan administration didn't do to make that produce?
Well, first of all, any reform that is designed to improve efficiency and productivity and block leakage is welcome. Any reform. So whether it is by Jonathan or by Buhari, it's welcome.
Yeah, were they deliberately overlooking those refineries to ensure they did not produce? Because look at the short time.
Well, to be honest with you, I wait and see when it works and how it works. I mean, remember when President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua came to power, he reversed the privatization of Kaduna refinery. He did quite a few things that looked okay at the time. You remember? But I'm not sure whether that will be regarded as the best decision, because the effectiveness or the performance of that refinery is still questionable up to today. So let's see what happens with Port Harcourt refinery, whether it works. Let's see. I mean, it should work. But the challenge of public sector institution running efficiently is always a problem. But let me tell you something. One of the things that you will discover when eventually the things begin to work is that government people have a lot of experience, but not necessarily deployed in the best possible way. You know, when the electricity generation and distribution was under government, people were saying, oh, if this was privatized, the private sector experts, you know, they bring their laptop, do their projections, everything will flow, we'll put in gas, we'll put in power, transmission, distribution, and all that.
Professor Monye,
I know that 5 out of 8 of those discos are in trouble.
Professor Monye, there are a lot of people who are sending in comments here, and a lot of them feel that you're being evasive with your answers. But let's put it this way: in rating, in let's say 4 sectors: economy, education, health, security, rates the past administration on a scale of 1 to 10.
No, you know, as a performance monitoring person, you rate based on parameters. You don't just rate as a journalist, or to say economy is not working, education sector is bad, the security is an issue. That's what journalists rate. Now, what we need to do is to look at the indices that we are rating first. So we need to establish what aspect of education, what aspect of security, and so on and so forth. So it's really not the easiest of things to do.
When they said the nation was owing about over $60 billion, they were not giving a breakdown of whether it was domestic or external debt. They just give a blanket. On a scale of 1 to 10, just rate these 4 sectors: security, education, health, and...
Let me talk about debt. Let me take that. Not specific. Let me answer anything that is specific. When you say the debt is both domestic and external, I think that's the first thing. Secondly, the issue of contractor debt and such debt is not just federal; it's both state and federal. Secondly, all our external debts are not just state or federal; it's both. As a matter of fact, about 60% of our external debts are owed by the states, not even by federal government. The bulk of the bonds we issue in this country are issued for the states, not federal government. So when governors and states talk, they talk as if the problem is federal government. They have refused to take responsibility. In fact, people don't even ask governors. Every day you hear there's this state can't pay salary, that state can't pay salary, and nobody's asking any state, why can't you pay salary? The only meaningful explanation is a revenue. There was a revenue fall. When revenue fell, how did you prioritize your expenditure? Did you take salary as important? So everybody is talking about that as if it's federal government. You forget that the federal government is the sole institution allowed by international agency to procure debt for the whole country. And there's what they call on lending to the states. I know how much Lagos State is owing internationally. I know how much Delta State. I know all the states, because it is the responsibility of federal government to procure on their behalf. And that is not to say that money is owed by federal government. So we have to put these things.
All right, we'll have to also end it there. Professor Sylvester Monye is a former SA to President Jonathan on performance, evaluation, and monitoring. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll return in just a moment. Don't go away.